you've done something that 95% of people would never do. So maybe give me how you've done it. Is it strategically? Is it consciously? Or is it just the way you
Very
operate?
Consciously, yeah. I reach out to a lot of people. Part of it is a numbers game.
Yeah.
For example, I need guests for a podcast. Obviously, I have to be strategic about who I invite, but it has to be a lot of people. Because some people are not responsive, some people are busy, some people reply and they want more information. So in your case, I had already spoken to you.
Yeah.
The interest was there and the curiosity was there in terms of what you do. And I realized you're someone who travels a lot. You mentioned this in passing. So I'm taking mental notes about, okay, how do I reach out? When do I reach out? How do I reach out? One of the things that I realized was you were very specific on the periods of time when you were busy. And I'm best friends with my calendar.
Yeah.
So you would say, hey, traveling for 2 weeks in Belgium at the moment, talk to you when I'm back. I was like, it's no offense to me, but you're not going to remember that you want to talk to me because when you're back in Dubai, now you have 50 million other things you want to do. So instead, I'm going to set a reminder in 2 weeks. Not on the day that you're back, because you sometimes mention, hey, back in 2 Wednesdays. No, I'm not going to message you when you're on the flight.
Yeah.
So if you're arriving on a Wednesday, it's probably going to be Friday afternoon, Friday morning, weekend, when things are a little bit laid back. And then I text, hey, Yulia, just wanted to see, welcome back to Dubai. Hope the trip was smooth. Just wanted to see when you'd be available for that catch up. Hey, would love to. Something came up, had to travel back to whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, no worries. When will you be back?
Yeah. But the thing, you followed up. You got your reminders, you got your calendar.
I have to.
And then it took a year to sit here. And I think that's the key. People don't follow up.
And you know what? You mentioned this, and I've heard this piece of advice, which I think is really important, which is think of it like a balance. And you said it perfectly. It's a give and take. So if at the get-go, I'm trying to take, I have zero balance. So I'm now in the negative, right? Yeah, we met on the airplane, but you meet a lot of people on airplanes. So now I want to give by just saying, hey, I acknowledge you're busy. So I'm not going to be the kind of guy who says, hey, listen, this is like my 5th message. No, I mean, who am I to do this, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who I'm reaching out to. It's just that attitude is a very taking attitude. It's not like we agreed we're going to do something and then, no. And even if plans change, it's like, oh, sure. We'll
and I think that's also an interesting one. For example, as you were saying, I'm looking for people for the podcast. Again, having the right people. I mean, through me, you're easy to get on a podcast. I mean, on any person, because we've built trust, and I'm happy to share other guests and other contexts that I think that could be a great story that should be mentioned, right? So you don't have to, it's much more smart and much more efficient than going through cold calling on LinkedIn or messaging. Actually, Yulia, can you introduce me to that person? Or like I spoke about it, of course they would come because like we've been here on the podcast. So that's a great example. Invest in the relationship already and through them get to the next level instead of going and cold calling all the time.
You're having me expose my secrets. So actually, just because the audience doesn't know this, you were the person who introduced me to Timur, who I had a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
And what I do at the end of every episode, so we film and each of us, I tell you thank you in person. And then I go home. And then as soon as I get to my phone, hey, Yulia, just once again, it was great having you over. Podcast was great. Thank you for making it out here. I understand you had to come from Abu Dhabi. Maybe the parking was tricky, whatever. So what you would say, a lot of people say, thank you for having me. Great podcast, great conversation. Let me know if I could help with anything.
Yeah, true.
Because they're like, oh, okay. I mean, it's such a nice message, I might as well just throw it out there. So they do it. I'm like, oh, I appreciate it. I mean, there's nothing now.
So listen, I do need something.
Exactly.
Here it comes.
Exactly. So what I do is I say, oh, no, I mean, there's nothing really. But if you have any friends who are working on something exciting and are awesome storytellers, I'd really appreciate an introduction.
You see.
I leave it there.
Right.
Every person has gotten back to me with at least one recommendation.
That's what I'm telling you. I think this is the key of sales. I mean, I come from sales background, and this is what we've been learning. Like, if you have a happy customer, make sure he gives you at least 5 other of these close contacts that they trust. And this is the way for you to get more business. I mean, it's podcast, it doesn't matter what it is. But this is the easiest and the coolest way to network. It's just take a happy friend, a client, whoever, and reach out to his network. through him.
It has worked without failure.